The Facebook ads platform has quite a number of different ad formats you can use to reach and influence your audience to work with your brand. But I think more often than not, people get really siloed into only using single image ad creatives on Facebook. I think that's a mistake. You're leaving quite a lot on the table when it comes to testing, message engagement, all this good stuff. So in this video, I want to go through the main group of ad formats that Facebook ads has available and hopefully get you started thinking about how you can start testing those different formats in your account. I'm going to start off with this video by giving a quick disclaimer for this entire process in the Facebook ads platform. Unfortunately, because Joe and I create a lot of these videos and we create a lot of just fake ads that don't ever run, Facebook has decided to disable our ad account. So we're going to be in an actual client account the whole time, which in some ways is a good thing, but it also means that a lot of different pieces of this video are going to be blurred out. And I'm sorry for that. I know it's not ideal for looking at ad formats when things are blurred out, but that's just the way things are. Just wanted you to know there's going to be a lot of stuff that you just cannot see in this video, but hopefully we can still convey the different important pieces of each ad format on Facebook. And speaking of those ad formats, there are effectively four main categories of ads on Facebook: image ads, video ads, carousel ads, and collection ads. This specific web page has some pretty helpful links. Each one of them has links for specifications, which we'll look at as we go through each of the formats. But then there's also links to learn more about each different types of ad. And the link is pretty simple. It's just facebook.com/business/ads-guide. That's it. So without further ado, let's hop into the ad platform and start looking at how we can build each of these different types of ads. I already have a new traffic campaign slated, so I'm just going to head over into the ad section. As you can see, I already have a new ad created, so let's just click edit. We're going to skip over the ad name and identity section because that will just be specific to your business. We're going to jump down to the ad setup section. The first option you have here is whether you want to create an ad, if you want to use an existing post, or use Creative Hub Mockup. For this entire video, I'm just going to create a new ad. Additionally, Joe has already created a video on using the Creative Hub, so if you're interested in checking out how to use that process, you can watch the video at the top of the screen right now. The next thing we get to do is choose where we want our media to come from. Do we want to use a manual upload, or do we want to use a catalog? For the sake of this video, I'm going to use just manual upload because I think the majority of advertisers use a manual upload. At some point, we might put together another video that shows how to utilize catalog information in ads. But for right now, we're going to stick with manual upload. And finally, we get down to format, the piece that we're actually trying to focus on for this video. You'll notice there are three options that you can select from: single image or video, carousel, or collection, which is a bit different from the four groupings that I showed you earlier. In the platform, Facebook will group single image or single video together because all of the different ad specs are going to be the same aside from the media piece itself. Something else to note about how interchangeable image and video can be: you'll also notice under carousel that you can put two or more scrollable images or videos. So in all of these different formats, although Facebook says images and videos are different to some degree, they are a bit interchangeable. Carousels can have images and videos grouped together, so just be aware as we're going through this that the delineation is more around the idea: do you have one media piece for the single image? Do you have multiple different cards like a carousel? Or are you using a collection or a group of different pieces laid out slightly differently than the carousel that we'll have in the collection ad format? Okay, enough with all the caveats. Let's start to build out a single image ad and start to go through that. So I'm going to leave this first option selected and scroll down to Add Creative. The first piece you get to choose is the media. So as you can see here, since we're in single image or video, we can choose image or video. And right now I'm just going to choose images. You'll then be prompted into your Facebook ads library. And again, I'm sorry most of these are blurred out. I'm just going to click an option that is a picture of Joe and I that we uploaded a while ago to use as another example. So when we click next, obviously this image is not really optimized for almost any of these placements. Maybe the right column is going to be the best. But from this screen, you can decide if you want to crop an image or if you want to replace it for any of the three different types of placements, whether it's going to be this in-feed section where technically 1-to-1 ratio is the suggested optimization. if it's going to be the 9:16, or this rectangular piece over here, which is 1.91 to 1 ratio. For now, I'm not going to customize these by placement. If you're interested in learning how to customize your ad creatives by placement and how to make them look the best that they can in each individual option on Facebook, you can check out the video at the top of the screen right now. For now, I'm just going to click next. Here you get to opt into any enhancements if you want to use that. So the two are going to effectively be image brightness and contrast. So you can see this is the original, and this is how Facebook would enhance that image. And then the aspect ratio. So this is the original. You can see there's white space over here off to the side, but you can see in the image off to the side, it'll potentially zoom in on any given image to make sure that they don't have any white space around the edges. I personally almost always opt into allow enhancements because typically my aspect ratios are a good fit, and this isn't something that I need to worry about. And I really don't have any problem with Facebook adjusting the image brightness and contrast. But if you have videos that have a certain aesthetic that you're trying to go for, or if your images will look bad if things are adjusted for aspect ratios to fit each individual spot, it might make sense for you to either uncheck the enhancements piece or go back and adjust your media to fit more appropriately. And I'm just going to click done. And now you can see the image preview off to the right with all of the different placements that will show you what this single image ad will look like on Facebook. If we keep scrolling our way down here, you can see there are some other pieces like enable music on Reels, which is where on Instagram Reels, instrumental music from the Meta sound collection will be added. For all other placements, no music will be added. You can also choose down here to select your specific music that you want to use for any of these pieces. I'm not going to go too far into this, but each one of these different songs or different soundtracks, I guess, you can play it to preview and you can choose the one that you want to use to make sure that your reels are a bit more engaging. Obviously, the single image ad by itself is pretty boring, so maybe music would make it a little bit more attractive. Next is where we get to add our text that will accompany the single image ad that we have. So the primary text, what's your ad about? And it says that you can type up to 5 options. The primary text is going to be the text that shows up above the image. It's going to feel more like the body of a regular Facebook post than anything else. So let me put in just some very quick placeholder text here. Okay, so I took that text opportunity to make a couple different points. First, you'll notice that the text that I typed in shows up above the image over here. But then I also said in the text itself that this is the portion of the ad that users will likely read third. They almost always see whatever is in the creative first. If there's words there, they'll read that first. Then they're going to read the headline, which is the next section that we can use here. And the headline, although I've adjusted it to say subscribe today, for some reason, the Facebook preview continues to revert it back to Paid Media Pros. So if you saw that flash just a second ago, this Paid Media Pros down here is actually the headline that will be associated with the ad. I think currently Facebook is just having a little bit of an issue, but either way, people usually read the creative, then the headline, then this third piece up here, which is that primary text. Additionally, you can also use a description, which typically shows up below the headline in any of your ads, but it also is the portion of text that will show up the least often. There are many different placements where this text does not show up anywhere in the creative. There's no space for it. And other times, if your headline is long enough, it will overwrite that short description, and you just simply won't have anybody see that description itself. Lastly, you get to choose your call to action down here. So there's a lot of different options that you can choose from. Get quote, apply now, download, learn more is going to be the easiest one, sign up, subscribe, watch more. In this section, you cannot create something custom. You have to choose from one of the drop downs that they have available here. Lastly, these info labels are something that's a little bit new, and they utilize the information about your business and your page to try and attract additional people. So right now you'll see that this account, even though right now I'm using it as Paid Media Pros, is opted into 11 info labels. So if we click here for edit labels, you can see the different sets that are available here. So the date that you joined a platform, your hours of operation, price, store location, and then any number of social cues, whether it's Instagram followers, page likes, ratings, lots of different pieces of information you can use to make your ads more attractive. You'll see over here off to the right, sample preview has page likes, and it's highlighting that 26 people like this page for this example. So if your business has really good social cues, or if you want people to know all of the basic information about your business, you can either opt into, or by unchecking this box, you can opt out of any of these different info labels for your Facebook ads. Right now I'm just going to click cancel because I don't really care. Now I went over each of the different text description pieces relatively quick, but I do want to give you the specific ad specifications for them according to Facebook. This section is in the Facebook Business Ads Guide for single image ads. Here you can see the design recommendations for the images themselves up at the top. Anything from a 1.91 to 1 ratio. Resolution needs to be 1080 by 1080. Text recommendations. Primary text can be up to 125 characters before it starts to get truncated. The headline should be about 27 characters before it starts to get truncated. And then the description, whether you use it or not, should be about 27 characters as well. Anything longer than those will potentially be cut off, and there'll be 3 dots or an ellipses to show that there's more text, but the user will have to engage with the creative to actually see what the rest of that text says. There's a couple more technical requirements here, but I'll let you look through those on your own time. For now, I want to hop into the second ad format, which is going to be just a quick derivation of the first one. That's going to be video ads. So to create a video ad, we need to keep single image or video selected. And I'm just going to click the trash can to remove all of the images that I had associated with that creative. And now I'm going to utilize the video option. Now you'll notice that there are 2 ways that you can create a video. The first is going to be to simply add a video from your library. This account has no videos, but you can utilize something from the business itself, which is going to be based across your media library. You can utilize a video URL. So if you have the URL of a hosted video that you want to use, you can add that here. And then third, you can utilize videos from your page as well. So here, our Paid Media Pros page has no videos, can't really pull one in, but there are options for you to utilize video that don't require you to take a video file and upload it to the platform itself. That said, if you were going to upload a video file, here are the requirements for that. Your file type needs to be an MP4, an MOV, or a GIF. The ratio needs to be 1:1 for desktop or mobile, but if you're going to do mobile only, you can do a 4:5 ratio. There are some specifications for compression and frame rate, but then you also need to keep that resolution at the 1080 by 1080, and you can utilize video captions and sound. They're optional, but Facebook highly recommends them. If you've ever seen a video on Facebook that doesn't have any sound associated or doesn't have the captions to tell you what's happening when the video doesn't have their sound turned on, it's not quite as enticing as an experience for the end user as it could be. Once you've selected your video from the library, as you can see, I don't have one because there's no video here. All of the additional pieces for primary text, headline, description, any of these other pieces are going to be effectively the same. And you can even see that in the text recommendations for 125 for primary text, 27 for headline, 27 for description. All of those are going to be the same. There are a couple additional pieces for the video duration. It can be anywhere from 1 second to 241 minutes long, although I would not suggest a 241 minute long video. Your file size needs to be 4 gig or less, and your minimum width and minimum height each need to be 120 pixels. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some other ways that you can create videos, and that's going to be using this Create Video option right here. Again, a number of these are going to need to be blurred out, so I apologize for that. But what this Create Video section does is it allows you to utilize your single image ads to create a video ad that operates as a slideshow. So when I open this up, you'll notice there are a number of images on the left-hand side, and then this whole right side of this editor is going to be previews of the ads that you could use. Each one of these templates is going to show you that it can use anywhere from 2 to 15 images or a single image. And when you hover over them, it'll show you a preview of what it looks like. This one is just a slideshow, so it snaps between pictures. But this one is called Connect, and it snaps between pictures. But this image over here off to the right is called Drop. You can see there's a big drop where the black portion hovers over the image, and there's a little bit more dynamic aspect to it. So all you need to do is start to select the images from the left-hand side that you want to use, put them into any of these given formats, and you can create a video just like that. So overall, that builder is pretty easy to use if you need to do that. But now let's move out of the single image and video section and let's look at carousels. The carousel ad format is where you can utilize multiple different images or videos to convey your message in individual cards. So you'll notice that the text builder down here is quite a bit different. For this first one, it wants you to select an image, so let's go ahead and do that. I just chose the same image as earlier, and then you get to write a short headline. And then you can also use a description, and I did this on purpose to show you that even in a carousel ad, the description kind of shows, but it's truncated because not everything fits here. And then for each of the individual cards, you get to add a different website URL, so you can send people to individual pages. So think about if you're trying to sell a number of different pairs of shoes. If you have a different pair for each image card, you can put a link to each of those different pairs of shoes on your website. You don't have to always drive people to the same page for every card. Once you're finished with the first one, you can come down and edit the second, and you get the same exact options that you had before, where you get to select an image, write a short headline, add a description if you want, but I'm not going to, and then you can add a new website URL. Now in the ad preview off to the right, you can see that we have the first card shows up here, and then the second card for a user on a desktop would have to click, but on mobile they can just scroll, and you can see the second card will show up here. And not all the text is showing up, but that's effectively how a carousel will work. You can add anywhere from 2 to 10 cards within a carousel. And to create a new card, you can come down here to add media, and then you can decide if you want to add an image or a video. So like I mentioned earlier, you can mix and match images and videos in a single carousel ad. If we scroll down a little bit, there are some additional customizations you can do to carousel ads. You can choose to automatically show the best performing card first, where effectively you add in any of your carousel images and videos and create all these different cards, and then Facebook decides which one it shows first based on engagement, conversion performance, all that good stuff. You can also choose to have a card at the end that has your page and profile picture associated with it. So that's what this one would look like. It has our Paid Media Pros logo, and it's going to send people to YouTube. And then lastly, we already talked about enabling music on Reels, but you can also utilize an option that says add a map card showing your nearest stores. This you will also have to have a Facebook address associated with your account. And we do not, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. But then lastly, you'll notice that this is a little bit different than the single image or video because the primary text and call to action live down here. The primary text will be the same for all cards. This will not change depending on which card is shown, but all of the other information associated with each card will change depending on which one is being shown at any given point in time. The last piece that might be useful, I know we talked about Facebook reordering cards for you. If you put all of your cards together and decide that you want them to be in a different order, all you need to do is come over here next to these 6 dots, grab and drag it up, and then you can reorder any of your carousels into whatever order you want to make sure that it's most enticing for your customers. The specifications for carousel ads are relatively similar to single image and video ads, but they are a little bit different. Again, you need to use certain image and video file types. Resolution still needs to be 1080 by 1080, but the ratio that they suggest is only 1:1. You then have 125 characters for primary text, which is the same, but your headline at 32 can be a little bit longer, and your description at 18 should be a little bit shorter. As I mentioned, you can use anywhere from 2 to 10 carousel cards, and then there are specific requirements for file and video size to make sure that you're going to fit within the Facebook platform. Now, the last type of ad format I want to talk about are collection. This is going to be quite a bit different than the single image or video or carousel ad formats. So let's start to put one together and you can see what it looks like. The primary text is going to be about the same. You'll see that it retained it here. You then get to write a short headline, which is required. And then rather than inputting a number of different images and text fields and all that good stuff, the next thing that we need to do is choose our destination, which is going to be an instant experience. This is the only option we have available here. You get to choose a template or select an existing instant experience. We currently don't have any existing instant experiences, so we're going to choose a template. There are 5 different groups here. Storefront, lookbook, and customer acquisition are effectively just pre-made templates for you to use. The custom instant experience gives you a blank slate where you can create whatever you want, and the AR experience allows you to import a camera effect into your instant experience to inspire people to interact with your brand. That one's a little too new for me, and the custom instant experience is going to take a little too much work, so I'm just going to use a lookbook. With a collection ad, this is where all of your images, text, and everything are going to live, are within this specific instant experience. You can see here off to the right, there's already a video up at the top that's going to be associated with this section. There's a headline for unique clothing. There's some body text for free shipping until December 31st. And then if we scroll down a little bit over here on the left, and down here on the right. You can start to see that we have a new image here and that we've got an adventure hat, which is pinned here. That's associated over here with featured products. And then down a little bit further, we have a button, which is visit whatever this fake site is. And then we've got the button label and then the destination for that button. So a collection ad, when you're not using a catalog, is going to effectively be you building a mini landing page within Facebook that contains all of the images, videos, and text that you want to have associated with it. I'm not going to go through this too terribly much right now because we have another video that walks you through all of these different aspects of Facebook instant experiences. You can check that out at the top of the screen right now and get a much more in-depth idea of how to utilize these and customize them. But for now, the last thing I want to look at is just the technical requirements for Facebook collection ads. So here you can see design requirements, same thing. Images and videos need to be a certain type, ratios need to be 1:1, and the resolution needs to be 1080 by 1080. You do have some different text requirements. Primary text is 125, headline is 40. And then you'll see for the technical requirements, instant experience is required. That's where all the rest of the technical specifications are going to live for images, videos, text fields, all that good stuff. Now I know overall this was a pretty quick overview of what each of these are and how you can start to build them. Tried to cover a number of the specifications, tried to show you at least a little bit of what each of them looks like. But when it comes down to it, as I mentioned in the intro, I think the biggest mistake people make is when they only focus on using image ads and they don't test any other format. There are tons of different ways that you can create video ads with your static images through that video builder or just doing it on your own. You can also create an engaging carousel that tells a story from start to finish or that highlights a number of different products. And collection ads, since they rely mostly on instant experience, can be some of the most customized ad formats on Facebook by themselves. I think a lot of people assume, because of images like this and the way that collection ads are talked about, that you have to have a product catalog or you have to be e-commerce to use collection ads. That's simply not the case. There are a lot of different ways that you can customize these to make sure that you are advertising to the right folks and getting in front of them in an engaging and attractive ad format. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of how each of these works, what you would need for each of them, and hopefully everything aside from a single image ad is a lot less intimidating now. They're really not that tough to put together, just takes a little bit of time and making sure that you pay attention to the specific requirements of each. If I missed anything about any of these and you have a question about it, or quite frankly, any other topic on Facebook, feel free to leave us a note in the comments below. Thanks for watching our video. If you thought it was useful, give us a thumbs up below.
We release a new video at least once a week, so if you want to get notified of when a new one comes out, be sure to subscribe to the Paid Media Pros channel.